She didn't sell her body that night. She sold her silence, her hope, her ability to believe that love wasn't just another lie. The deal was simple. One night, no names, no questions. But what no one knew was that this man wasn't looking for pleasure. He was running from power, from expectations, from himself. They called him untouchable, a senator with a spotless reputation. She had nothing left but debt, bruises on her memory, and a heart too tired to beg. Her name was Camila, 36 years old, former social worker. She once fought for women like her, until the system chewed her up and spit her out. Now, she stood in the lobby of a luxury hotel, in borrowed heels and lipstick too bright for her skin tone. She didn't feel sexy. She felt invisible. But the man who opened the door wasn't drunk. He wasn't arrogant. He was staring at her, like he was the one ashamed. For 2 hours, they didn't touch. They talked. About food, about books, about silence. At 11:43 p.m., she stood up to leave. And just before she opened the door, he said something that stopped her cold. Would you meet me again? Outside of this isn't a love story. It's a story about power, vulnerability, and what happens when someone gives you exactly what you fear the most. Stay until the end. Because what began as a transaction became a debt the heart didn't know how to pay. Camila didn't grow up dreaming of stilettos and silence. She dreamed of helping women like her mother, women who endured more than they ever deserved. At 28, she was a rising voice in social justice. By 30, been buried under court papers, false accusations, and a system designed to protect the powerful. Now, she lived in a one-bedroom apartment above a broken laundromat in East LA. She worked night shifts, cash only, no contracts, no protection, and every morning she promised herself it was only temporary. Then came the message, an encrypted text, no name, just $5,000, Hotel Savoy, room 504, no cameras. She had heard of him. Everyone had. Senator Alistair Grant, decorated veteran, family man, political machine. Many whispered stories about him. None dared speak them out loud. What did a man like that want with someone like her? She didn't ask. She needed the money. And so, that night, under the artificial glow of the hotel lobby, Camila stepped into a life she thought she'd never live. But what she found was not what she expected. Camila expected cold eyes, fast hands, and silence paid in cash. Instead, the room was dimly lit, filled with the scent of sandalwood and old vinyl records playing softly in the background. A leather-bound book sat open on the nightstand. And there he was, Senator Grant, not standing tall like he did on stage, but sitting in a chair near the window, looking like a man who had lost a war no one else saw. He didn't speak, at first, just stared out at the city. Camila stood by the door, frozen. Then, without looking at her, he said quietly, "You don't have to take off anything. I just need someone to sit here." She thought it was a trick, a setup, a game, but his voice, it was broken in a way she recognized, so she sat. And for 2 hours, no one touched anyone. He spoke of policy loss, the daughter he barely saw, of how power, once tasted, never lets go, and how love, once betrayed, never comes back the same. And you, what would you do in his place? Write it in the comments. Because sometimes, what we judge is exactly what we carry in silence. She didn't know it yet, but by agreeing to stay, Camila had just stepped into the center of a secret that could ruin a man, or save him. And at the end of it all, he wouldn't be the one begging her to return. She would be the one deciding if she could survive what came next. Stay until the final chapter. The truth doesn't come easy, but when it arrives, it changes everything. The second meeting didn't happen in a hotel. It happened in a coffee shop tucked between a closed bookstore and an old church. No cameras, no security, no suit. Senator Grant arrived early, alone. Camila sat across from him, unsure if this was part of something bigger or more dangerous. He spoke first. "My campaign team would kill me if they knew I was here." He laughed, but his eyes DN single quotes. T. Then he leaned in, lowered his voice. "My wife didn't leave me. She ended her life. And the last text she sent was to me." Camila blinked. She didn't know whether to offer sympathy or run. That's when she saw it. The fear, not of scandal, of being seen as weak. He wasn't paying for silence. He was starving for truth. Someone to witness who he really was, outside the headlines and applause. And that scared her more than anything else, because she wasn't sure she wanted to see him either. He wasn't powerful here. He was real, and the more she saw, the less control she had over the wall she had built around her own pain. Camila didn't return his calls for 4 days. She wandered through her neighborhood, pretending she still belonged. Past the church, where her mother lit candles for promises never kept. Past the community center that once called her a rising star. Now they just looked through her dot. She hadn't told anyone what she was doing. Not because of shame, but because she didn't want their pity. When she finally saw him again, he didn't speak. He just handed her a folded note. Inside, scribbled in shaky handwriting, were just a few words. "I trust you more than I should." Her chest tightened. That kind of trust terrified her, because she had spent years hiding behind roles. Daughter, advocate, survivor, but never lover, never partner, never someone who could be needed. Camila knew what it felt like to be abandoned. She knew how dangerous hope could be. And yet, for the first time in years, she didn't feel like running. Not from him, from herself. They never made it official. No headlines, no press conference, just quiet moments in ordinary places. Camila didn't ask him to leave politics. He didn't ask her to become someone she wasn't. Single quotes to. He sent her books with highlighted passages. She brought him coffee without sugar. Neither of them said the word love, but it was there. In the silence, in the choice to show up again. One day, as they walked through the old market, where she once avoided eye contact, a woman whispered, "Is that really him?" Camila didn't flinch, because for the first time in her life, she didn't feel like she had to disappear to be respected. They were both imperfect, both guilty of surviving in ways the world doesn't understand, but they met where power ends and truth begins. If this story moved something in you, stay with us. There's more to come. And maybe, just maybe, the next story will speak even louder to your heart.